Hello my friends, and welcome back to another video, or welcome if you are new. My name is Erin, and today we are going to do a vlog reading some new horror book releases. Now, when I was filming this video, because I'm filming this intro after I already finished the vlog, but during this vlog I was participating in 2 readathons about halfway through the vlog, because then July ended and August began, so the readathons ended. So this vlog is kind of a mishmash of things, but I was doing 2 readathons in July. The first one was the tarot readathon hosted by Noelle from Noelle 7 Pages and Deja from Deja's Book World here on YouTube. I was a co-host for the Swords team, and the other readathon I was participating in was Sunrise on the Readathon hosted by Katie Colson here on YouTube. I was the Pisces District mentor. So I was talking about those readathons about half of the vlog because that's when I was participating in them still. So if I stop talking about them and I stop pulling tarot cards, that's wise, because the reason is because the readathons ended. I will have everyone's channel linked down below, the info on the readathons. I know they're already over, but you know, you can participate next year in them, so I'll have all that info linked down below. But I have 4 very different horror books to read and talk about in this vlog, and my opinions were very all over the place. It was a very interesting vlog, so I hope you all are excited. If you are, give me a like, subscribe, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. You don't want to hear that right now. You want to hear me get to the point. So last thing is that I pulled a tarot card for the first book, but I had done it before the video started, so I'm inserting a clip of me pulling the card, and I pulled the 8 of Swords, which was for read a book from a genre that you don't typically read. So the book that I went with for the first book of this vlog is One Yellow Eye by Lee Radford. This is a sci-fi zombie horror book. So this is going to be the first one that we will be reading. So I hope you all are excited to hear my thoughts on this one and the other 3 books. And without further ado, I'm going to stop talking and get to the vlog. So let's get into it. Alright, so I'm here for a check-in. I have made it 105 pages into One Yellow Eye, and I'm on chapter 10. I wanted to come on and give my first thoughts because this is such a unique book, and I feel like so much has already happened, and I have so much to say already with the first 100 pages. So I want to do a little check-in and then do a second little wrap-up at the end. But let me tell you what this book is about first, and then we'll get into my thoughts, because my brain is all over the place with this one. So this is a zombie book. The main character is Kesta, and she is a scientist living in London, and there was a virus, a zombie outbreak, okay? It's been 3 months, and all the infected people were rounded up and disposed of, aka killed. So either family members or friends killed them themselves when they realized they were zombies, or the government came in, rounded them all up, shot them, and killed them. So they've had 3 months with no recent outbreak, and so this is more of the aftermath. And there are supposedly no zombies now, except Kesta is hiding a little secret. Her husband is a zombie, and she's taking care of him. She's keeping him alive. She has him in her house, and the reason she hasn't told anyone or killed him herself is because she wants to wait until there's a cure. She does not want to lose her husband. She is not a people person. She doesn't do well with people, but her husband is the one person that means so much to her, and so she is holding out on this hope that there will be a cure. and her goal is to get into this Project Dawn, and she knows that they're looking into a cure. So she is hoping that she will get this opportunity to start working on a cure because she genuinely wants to get a cure, but mostly to save her husband. I hate zombie books. I hate zombie movies. I don't like zombie horror at all. I find it... I just find it really predictable and kind of stupid, and honestly I'm just not that interested by it. I think it's really silly and really overdone, and I'm just not a fan. I don't like it. I also don't like virus horror. That is mainly because of the pandemic. That really turned me off. I don't like to read about viruses spreading and whatever. It just like, I don't like that kind of mindset. But there is something so unique about this book, and I think it's because the main focus is the aftermath and the cure side of the zombie apocalypse. It's not a group of people having to survive because there are zombies and, you know, other humans are bad, but the zombies are trying to kill them. You know what I mean? It's not like the average plot of a zombie story. And so I really like that. I will say this is so science heavy, like incredibly science heavy. I know that the main character is a scientist, but I mean, it's kind of going over my head at times. I mean, I know my way around a microscope from biology class, but not this much. I mean, things that she's saying, I'm like, sure, okay, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So that is definitely a hard part of this story. But I think why I like it is because I could see myself doing this. That sounds so bad. But like, if Justin got turned into a zombie and I was there, I don't think I could kill him. I would probably be like, you know what? I'm gonna chain you up and I'm gonna take care of you. Is that horrible? Yeah, kind of, because I'm reading this book and I'm like, girl, I think your husband's gone. And I feel bad because I like get her mindset, like I get her thought process, but I'm also like, maybe you should have just killed him. So it's definitely a very interesting read in that sense. She's also in this support group. It's called ZARG, or Zombie Apocalypse Recovery Group. And so she goes to that and people talk about how they found their loved one turned into a zombie and how they end up, you know, killing them or turning them in. And she's sitting there with this secret and she's like, she has her husband in her house still alive. And I just think that's so, it's not funny, but it kind of is funny. I don't know. It's like funny in a sense that it's kind of crazy, but I also can see myself doing that, and I kind of love that. I don't know, it feels like such a different zombie story, and I think that's the reason I was drawn to it, because again, hate zombies. So I'm really enjoying myself so far. I'll be honest, I don't know where this is going. I mean, I have an idea, but this could go so many different ways. I really have no idea what's gonna happen in this book. But yeah, the writing's really interesting. Again, very, very science heavy. Very science heavy. But I don't know, I like the motivation. I like that this is the aftermath of the apocalypse. Like, I like that they're not in the middle of it. They're not in the midst. They're not fighting. They're not fighting for survival. This is like what happens afterwards, like looking for the cure. I don't know. It's very interesting to me. I like this side of it. It feels a little bit more detached, and I know that sounds really odd. I don't know if it makes sense, but I think because it's so analytical at times and it's so scientific, and our main character is really, she just thinks of things in the form of science. It feels less emotional, but also emotional at the same time. Emotional because she's doing this for her husband, and there are flashbacks of her and him together and how much she misses him, and the things that she's doing for him. It's just, it is emotional in that sense, but it's also kind of detached because it is so focused on the science. And I think I like that. I think I like that. Hopefully that makes sense. This is a very unique book, very unique. I love the cover. The cover is really beautiful. And so far I'm very intrigued to keep reading and see what happens. So I'm actually really enjoying my time with this. It also has like a Frankenstein vibe that I enjoy because I love Frankenstein. So I think that's also adding to the reasons I like it. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. So I'm going to keep reading and I'm going to finish this and I will update you when I finish it, give you my rating, and hopefully I'll really still like it when it's done. Alright, I have finished One Yellow Eye. Our dishwasher is going. I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but if you hear a random noise, that's what it is. I was pleasantly surprised by this book. I really didn't think I was gonna like it. It's zombies, it's science fiction, two things I am just not a huge fan of, and I think this was so fresh and different and unique that I just had a really good time reading it. I am probably gonna give this 4 stars, which is crazy. I just never thought I would say I like a zombie book ever. That's like crazy to hear me say out loud. Now, there are some things I don't love about this book. It's not perfect. I think it's way too science fiction for me. I felt like things were just going over my head. A lot of biology, a lot of virus talk, like viruses that I've heard of, viruses that I haven't heard of, stuff that I just don't know a lot about. And I can't even tell you if this stuff is accurate. This could be totally like made up and I would just be like, yeah, no, that sounds right. Yeah, for sure. Checks out. I know what you're talking about. Like, I have no idea. I cannot say if this is like scientifically accurate or not. I'm sure it's probably a little bit more out there since it's science fiction and it's about zombies. So I'm sure there are stuff that, you know, is stretched a little bit. So I can confidently say a lot of it went over my head. I really wish it had been dialed back a little bit. But at the same time, I don't think the book would be what it is if it had been dialed back. So it's probably just a me thing. I don't know. The other thing I didn't love about this book, and I don't know if I missed something or I don't know, but there was something that was revealed at the end. Like there was this little bit of information that was mentioned like twice. Just like in passing, just like a little, oop, here you go, like a little drop of information. And then it wasn't brought up again, and I'm kind of like, wait, what about that though? What happened? We're not going to talk about that again in more detail, or nope? Okay. So I feel like there was one thing that I'm not sure of. Maybe because my brain didn't compute it correctly. Maybe I missed something and it was answered, but I feel like I didn't get an answer to something that I kind of would have liked an answer to, because it was really interesting, but then it wasn't expanded upon. So that's my other little like gripe about this book. It was pretty enjoyable. It's slow because it is very science heavy. And I know there are going to be some things that people don't like about this because it is labeled a zombie book, but to me it's much more a story about grief. She's dealing with the loss of her husband, but in a different way because he's still there physically, but he's a zombie. So she's lost him, you know, she's dealing with her grief for him, and it's really hard to like see how devastated she is, and it's something that I can relate to. I wouldn't want to be in her position. It was just really sad, and I liked that. I know grief horror can be very hit or miss for me because it just feels so repetitive, like always the same type of story. But this did feel different and I did like that. I do think people are going to be annoyed because she is an alcoholic, but I do think it was handled better than in like your typical average thriller where they talk about how they're alcoholics and then in every sentence they're talking about drinking. I'm an alcoholic. Like, it's, yes, we get it, you're an alcoholic. I do feel like it was a little bit more in your face in the second half, but to me it made more sense for it to be really talked about. And I will say, if anyone has a reason to be an alcoholic in a book, I do feel like Kesta is a good main character to have alcoholism because she did live through a zombie apocalypse. She did watch her husband get turned into a zombie, and now she is trying to save his life. So, I mean, she's under a lot of stress, so I kind of get it. And then the other thing I want to mention is there is experimentation on animals in here. It is mentioned. Specifically, there are a couple of scenes with a monkey, and yeah, I just know some people probably won't want to read that. It was hard, especially the part with the monkey, because that was just a lot more sad, and there is animal death in this. Only one, it's off page, but it is mentioned. So just thought I'd bring that up because I know it is a thing that people want to know, and I don't like things that deal with animals because I know in Sundial that has animal experimentation and that was so heavy that I just did not enjoy that at all. But this one is very... It's much less, but it is present. Yeah, the ending was really sad. There was this one moment at the end that's not necessarily a twist because I don't think it was twisty, but it was kind of jaw-dropping where when I read it I was like, ah! So I did have a lot of fun with this. Weirdly enough, I did like this book. I never thought I would like a zombie book, but I did enjoy this one. And of course that counted for Sunrise on the Readathon and the Tarot Readathon. So now I'm going to pick another tarot card and pick my next horror read based off of that. But I think I'm just gonna pick this one. It's The Moon, which I don't know what that prompt is off the top of my head, so I'm going to have to check what The Moon is. Read a book that explore the supernatural or paranormal. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with The Bewitching by Silvia Moreno Garcia next. I'm very excited for that book, so I think that'll be my next read. So I will update you all when I have started reading it and I've got an update for you all. Alright, here to... Why am I trying to do a British accent because of you?
What did I do?
Alright, I have an update on The Bewitching. I have so many feelings and also not that many feelings on this book right now. I think it's because so much is happening and I can't quite get a real feeling on what this story is just yet. I think I'm finally getting to a part in the book where things are gonna start coming a little bit more together. I'm 147 pages in, so almost halfway. I have only read Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia, but I have Silver Nitrate and I need to read it, and I love Mexican Gothic. And this one looked right up my alley. It's about witches. I was so down, but I really didn't read the plot. So when I got into this, it kind of was jarring. This is a 3 different timeline stories. So we're following 3 different women in 3 different time periods, and I'm assuming everything's going to come together at the end because that's typically what happens. So in 1998, we are following Minerva, who is from Mexico, and she is in Massachusetts to go to college. She's writing her thesis on Beatrice Tremblay, who is a woman that wrote a horror novel and then I think some like short stories. She's not super well known, so Minerva really wants the thesis to be the thing that brings people to know who this author is. So Beatrice also attended the same college that Minerva's at, and she also wants to connect it to like witchcraft because Massachusetts obviously has like a history of witchcraft, and there is witchcraft in the stories. But she's looking into Beatrice a little bit more now because the novel she wrote, The Vanishing, was supposed to be based on a true story, and she's now found this manuscript that no one has seen. It hasn't been published, so she's going through it. It's talking about her friend that went missing, and that's actually the 1934 timeline and POV that we're following. So in the 3rd timeline, it's 1908, and we're actually following Minerva's great-grandmother, Alba, whose father just recently died, and her brother has taken over as like the male of the household, you know, the head. Her uncle has also just come to stay and like help out with the land and kind of help the family where they need help. And he's very posh, he's very fancy, he has like a very high education, he dresses nice, he talks about Mexico City a lot and how, you know, everything's nicer there and they have so much more stuff. And Alba is very enamored with her uncle. She just really has this infatuation with him, and they have this connection, and she feels like he gets her and like no one else does, and she just likes the same things he does, and she just really admires her uncle. And now some things have happened there. I don't really know how much I can go into because I don't want to spoil this, but wow, it's weird, but in like an interesting way. I am so fascinated to see how these connect because I kind of see where it's going, but at the same time, I'm really unsure how these are all 3 supposed to mesh. I have some ideas floating around in my head, but nothing like super duper concrete. So I am really enjoying it. I love Silvia Moreno Garcia's writing. I enjoy her plots. This has a lot of like nods to Lovecraft and Poe and just like horror in general. So there are little like Easter eggs in this book. So I think a lot of people will enjoy that. But so far it's been really good. I am enjoying it. It has been a little slow. I felt like the first few chapters I was kind of like, wow, I feel like this is taking me forever to read. But I do feel like the payoff is going to be what I want it to be, and it's going to be like a good payoff. So I don't know. I have high hopes for how this is all going to mesh. I'm very excited. And that's kind of all I have because some of the things that I have to say about this I can't say because they're spoilery. I have some thoughts about the 1908 timeline with Alba. There's some like weird stuff in there. I don't know if I have a favorite timeline. I'm enjoying them all, but they're all very different in their own way. So yeah, I'm having a good time. I'm interested to see how this is going to end up. I've said that like 1,000 times, but I am excited. So I'm going to keep reading this, and I will check in when I finished and give you all my final little wrapped up thoughts. All right, so I finished The Bewitching, and I have to say that I did overall enjoy this book. I think I just really love Silvia Moreno Garcia's writing and the way she tells a story. But I will also say that in the last check-in, I kind of I kind of said that I had some theories, but I wasn't sure where this book was going. And I'm gonna be honest, right after I finished that, I was like, wait. I kept reading and I was like, no, actually, this is really obvious. And it was. I will say that everything I guessed, I was 100% correct, because I think once you get to a certain point in this story, they're all really obvious. Nothing is very shocking or surprising. I think it's a very straightforward story for each timeline. Like, I wasn't thrown off or shocked, or my flabbers were not gasted. It was just a simple, plain, straightforward kind of story. And I think while I still enjoyed that, I think for me, I keep referring back to Mexican Gothic in my head because Mexican Gothic kept me on my toes. I really had no idea what it was doing or what it was going to be. I think by the end, I was just like shook, right? The whole thing just surprised me, and I just wasn't ready for what it was, and it was just so good that it just threw me off, right, in the best way possible. So I think my problem is that I keep comparing this book to Mexican Gothic and my feelings about it. So I don't know, I really did like this. I think I'm gonna give it a 4. If I had to be honest, I think it's like a low 4, like maybe a 3.75 to a 4. I would probably just give it a 4 because I did really like it and I had a good time. I think it took a really long time for me to get invested, and once I did, I had a better time. But again, I was really looking forward to something surprising within each timeline, kind of a surprise with connecting the timelines. It just wasn't there. So I was just a little bit disappointed. I also want to state that there is animal death in this book. I believe all the deaths are off page, but it is talked about, so yeah, keep that in mind. So I did like it, but I still think Mexican Gothic is my favorite book from her. Now, this was my last book of July and the last book for my reading in the Tarot Readathon and Sunrise on the Readathon. So it is now going to be August, and I'm not reading for anything. I'm just reading for fun. So we don't have to pick a prompt or anything like that. I just get to pick the next book. We interrupt this vlog. That sounds like a news report. We interrupt this vlog to bring you a special report. We're taste testing chocolate. Because, oh wait, where's the thingy? I have to show you. If you have been on TikTok, you know that those Dubai chocolate bars are like super freaking popular. Well, I want to try one because I love pistachio flavored things. And so I saw one at Safeway, and it's the Lindt Dubai style chocolate bar. Look at it. It's very fancy. You can't even see it. Hello. Hi, yes. This was $14. This was $14, and
It was $14. $14?
this was $14, which I know that they're usually pricey, but I don't know. I think this is a cheaper version of it. I don't know, whatever. Is it gonna be $14 worth, like, good? Probably not, but I want to try it. I feel left out. I have FOMO. So we have 4 squares, if you can see it on our cute little ghost plate, and we're gonna taste test them together. Okay, sorry. I was trying to hand you one. Are you ready?
I'll take that one.
Okay. Ready? Cheers.
Cheers.
Take a bite. Oh my god, she ate the whole thing. It's really, really sweet. I like the crunch. I don't know if you can see the inside very well. I like the saltiness from the pistachio.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I like to see you. Talk about it.
I like the crunch from the... I don't know how to pronounce it. Kadif? The Kadif pastry, I think is how you say it. I'm not sure. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Would I pay $14 for it?
Yes.
No.
Oh.
No. I wish there was more filling because it's so thin that, like, the chocolate's a little overwhelming. If it was dark chocolate, it might balance a little better. I don't like dark chocolate, but if it was dark chocolate, it might balance better. And I think it needs to be thicker. Like, the middle needs more. Yeah, it's very melty. I have chocolate all over me. But it was good.
Yeah. I'd say about 16 out of 37.
I'd give it like a 6.7 out of 10.
Here's my problem. It tastes really good.
Mm-hmm.
Taste-wise,
Uh-huh.
I want to say it's like a 9 for me.
It's a little too sweet for me. I wish there was more.
I do think it should be dark chocolate as well.
Yeah.
But taste-wise, I think it's like a 9. But also, it is a bit pricey, so I'm like...
It's very expensive. $14 is kind of crazy. Like, really crazy. Not kind of. It's really crazy. But it was okay. It was good. Oh, like you don't give it to other people when they're over. I thought you meant like a company. I was
Who
like,
gives
ooh.
good stuff to other people?
It's just a little too sweet. Like, I feel like the chocolate's overwhelming. I wish it was more, because when you get the like salty from the pistachio and the crunch from the Kadif, if that's how you say it, I'm probably butchering it. When you get that, it tastes really, really good with the chocolate, but there's not enough of it. Like, it's not enough filling.
Mm-hmm.
And then the chocolate is so sweet. Again, I don't like dark chocolate, but dark chocolate would probably work better instead of, I'm assuming this is milk. Is this milk chocolate? Yeah, milk chocolate. Obviously.
Milk.
Obviously, this is also Lindt, so I don't know if like a legit Dubai chocolate candy bar would be different. But it was okay. I'm glad I did it. That was our first ever Justin and Aaron taste testing. You're welcome. Bye. Have fun in the vlog.
Bye. See you tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Or next week.
What?
Or whenever I see you.
This book took me, I I think 5 days to finish. I don't really know why, because it is so short. It's only 228 pages. Why did it take me 5 days to finish, you may ask? It's because Justin and I were playing board games and I didn't read as often as I probably should have. I was reading like a little bit a day, but I was just doing other things. I needed a little breaky from reading. So this took me a really long time to read. I don't know my feelings on it, because there are some things that I really, really loved, and there are some things that I'm like, I partially believe this book just wasn't for me. Like, it's just not the type of book that I like, but there's something about it that I enjoyed. So I'm really unsure on my rating for this one. But let me tell you what this is about. We're following the main character, Ingrid, who gets a call from her childhood best friend, Myra, and they haven't spoken in a while, okay? Myra went off to college and they kind of drifted off from being friends. It just wasn't the same, you know. But Myra's like, hey, you should come up to this house that I'm staying at. It's basically in the Everglades in Florida. It's like in the swampy area. But I'm staying there. I'm doing a little detox. I'd love to see you. You should come up, hang out with me. And Ingrid's like, I don't really know. I don't know. I feel like the last few times it just wasn't the same. I just don't think I should go. So she kind of like hems and haws over it for a bit. But then she decides to go, right? She decides that she's going to go up on a Friday and she'll stay the little weekend and she'll just see how it goes. So she gets there and it's like really secluded. This house is like really just like in the swampy area and there's just no one for miles, okay? And when she sees Myra, it kind of feels like the old times. They're like bantering. It feels good, right? It feels good. But then Myra mentions Benji, and Benji is her boyfriend who's also at the house. And Ingrid is a little like, you didn't mention Benji. You didn't tell me he was going to be here. And so, you know, a dude's crashing their girl time. It's not ideal, right? When you want to hang out with your friends and you don't know that the boyfriend's tagging along. But that's not like the only weird thing, okay? The longer that Ingrid stays in this house, the more she loses a sense of time and she loses grasp on her reality. This book is very, very weird, okay? Now, let me tell you what I liked about this book. I really liked the focus of friendship. I think, honestly, this whole book for me was just a big metaphor for friendship. About friendships that are toxic, losing friendships, friendships not really being what they seem, especially when you're younger, and then when you grow up you kind of see things a little bit differently, especially I think because we're reading about their friendship. There's a lot of flashbacks in this book. You get a lot of flashbacks on Ingrid and Myra and how they met and things that they did together, you know, things they got into. And you as the reader can kind of see like, ooh, I don't really think you guys should have been friends. This isn't probably the best kind of friendship that should have been there, but you know, you see things differently when you're in it. So we're reading their friendship and then Ingrid sees it as something different, right? But it's just like friendships don't always last. They aren't meant to last. You're not necessarily friends with the right people all the time. It's honestly, this book is just a big metaphor for friendship. That's just what it is. And I did enjoy that. I really did. I think the writing was a good combination of like lush descriptions, but also just kind of not simple, but the author's own unique style. I can see that the author kind of infused themselves into the writing, but it also had that like lush hypnotic feel. The the descriptions were so suffocating at times. If you've ever been to Florida or you live in Florida, you know, like the humidity, the sweat, the heat, like the swampiness, like the descriptions were so visceral for me because I was like, oh, I can feel it. I felt like I was suffocating in this swampy area, in this house, in the heat, and I really liked that. It was really good. I think where this book falls for me is the horror aspect. I'm not the biggest fan of fever dreamy, surreal kind of books, and I like a fever dream, I do, but I need the horror to match it, and I don't feel like the horror matched the fever dream level in this book. I think that there were a lot of unanswered questions for me that I personally would have liked more about. This house is very interesting. It's kind of a labyrinth. It's one of those houses where like you can find new things every time you walk down a hallway. So I think that that part kind of started almost a little too late, and then it was too slow. I think it needed to be almost at a faster pace to keep up with the fever dream style, and then the horror was just kind of rushed at the end for me. I would have liked it to be a little bit more developed because I was just kind of left with nothing to grasp onto, and I'm someone who likes a concrete, at least something concrete to like hold on to at the end of the book, and I just feel like nothing was there for me. It was just like slipping through my fingers. I was like, I have no idea what just happened. I don't even understand. So I think I just was left wanting a little bit more from the horror parts, but I did like it. I'm torn between a 3.5 and like a 3.75. I'm not the biggest fan of a fever dream book. I do think it was done well in this story, but as someone who doesn't connect with those all the time, I don't know, it just didn't work. I think I needed it to be almost weirder. Like it was weird, but I think it needed to up the weird and the horror to match the fever dream. Because if it was just like a mishmash of like fever dream, horror, weird, like it was just like so ramped, I think I would have been like, whoa, this is wild, and I would have given it probably a higher rating. But because it was more of a subdued type of feeling, I don't think I can give it to a 4. But it wasn't bad. I can see a lot of people probably liking this one. And the cover is stunning. And I would read more from this author because I did like their writing a lot. The next one, this might be the last book. I don't know. I might read another one after this. It's going to depend on how much time I have. But the next one I'm going to is Salt Bones by Jennifer Gavon. I'm very excited about this. This is a Persephone Demeter retelling. And I think missing people, missing women, a missing woman, I don't know. But I've read from this author before and enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to starting this one, and I guess we'll see. So I will update you here soon. Alright, I'm here for the last update. I just finished Salt Bones like within the last 30 minutes. This book is so hard for me to get my feelings together about because I'm not sure how to review it in a way that makes sense for other people and recommends it to the right people, because I think a specific reader is going to have to want to pick up this book. I had a very hard time with it in the beginning, a very hard time with it. But let me tell you the plot first, and then I'll explain my thoughts and kind of how the reading experience was for me. So in this book, we're following Mal, and she is a mom to 2 daughters, and her family is kind of dysfunctional. There's a lot of secrets. There's a lot of like things harboring beneath the surface with this family, because years ago, her youngest sister went missing, and her mom and her dad and her siblings have all felt this sadness, this grief for so long, and their relationships with each other is very different. I think a lot of people that have dysfunctional families, they might feel seen by this family dynamic because it is so different and dysfunctional. But she's also a butcher, which I didn't like in the first few chapters because it would kind of go into detail about her butchering, and that really bothered me. It's just not something I want to read about, and I didn't like, and it just was kind of like gross and not really for me. Anyways, this girl goes missing in town, and they feel like it's a repeat of history, right? She's thinking of her sister. There's also this man who lost a daughter years ago, and that feels very similar. So she's kind of on guard, and she just feels like something's happening, right? This isn't good. What's happened before is happening again. And then her daughter, her youngest daughter, ends up going missing as well. And things just get kind of wild after that point, because they're just following so many leads and trying to figure out what's really going on with these missing girls. The first 30%, maybe the first 35-ish%, I really wanted to DNF. I was just not feeling it. I didn't really like the direction that it felt like it was going in. I didn't really like, it wasn't the writing, it was just the everything else. I don't know, like, I didn't mind the characters, but it just felt like it was more about family and the drama and keeping secrets from each other and like just like the past and that kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm just not interested. I'm not really getting it. I'm not really vibing with it. And I couldn't tell if I wanted to keep pushing on or if I wanted to DNF. I don't like DNFing in vlogs. I try not to do it too much because I like to give a more thorough review for you all. And I just was like, okay, I'll just keep pushing, I'll keep pushing, I'll keep pushing. And I think by 170 pages, 180, I started really getting into the story and I started liking it a lot more. How to recommend this to people is what I'm having trouble with, because this is marketed as a horror, and there are horror elements in this book. The main character has these visions, okay? And it kind of distorts her reality. Her emotions are very high, which isn't helpful, but there is like a supernaturally aspect to the story. But I would say this is more of a thriller. Like the missing girls, I think some of it was predictable. And I think if you've read thrillers that have kind of a similar premise, you might know what's going on. I did find this book to have some really good twists, but I do feel like at the end of the day it felt more like a thriller with some horror elements. And that's one reason why I have a hard time recommending this book, because I feel like if you go in thinking this is a horror book, you might be disappointed because the horror elements aren't... If you're used to horror, it's not going to be like an abundance of horror in your face. So I don't really know who to recommend this book to, but also I have trouble recommending it because I don't want to say, well, if you don't like the first 30%, just keep pushing on because the story is good. While I believe that, I don't want to say to push past the first 30%, because if you don't like a book, don't read it. And if you're not getting into it by the first 30%, I'm kind of like, you know what I mean? I'm having a hard time rating this book. I want to give it a 4 because I did like it in the end, but it was really, really rough. Really rough going into it. I think the messaging is really good. I do see the Persephone Demeter retelling that they were talking about. I thought that was cool. I liked the horror elements that were in there. I liked that supernatural edition. I thought that was interesting, but I don't think it's going to satisfy a bunch of horror people. I think this will be a very average read for most people, maybe like a 3.5. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I liked it, but it was hard to get into, like really hard to get into. So I think I'm giving it 4 stars. I think without the ending being so twisty and like surprising, I would have given it probably a 3.5. I'm upping it based on the ending because I liked the ending and I was satisfied by the ending. But yeah, I think you're gonna have to be really picky if you decide to pick this up. Like, I don't I don't know if I would recommend this to everyone. I think it'll be very, very, very specific people. But if you want to read a Mexican author, I do recommend Jennifer Gavon. I would say River Woman, River Demon is, I think I like that one better than this one. So I would suggest that one. But I do like this author. So if you're in the market to check out an author, maybe try River Woman, River Demon first, and then try this one. But that is going to do it for this vlog, my friends. I was gonna do another book, but I'm running out of time and I wanna get this video edited for you all, so I'm gonna call it quits here. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you read any of these books, let me know. If you want to hear me review any other kinds of books, I would love to hear your recommendations as well. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to my channel. We can become friends, talk about books, horrifying books, thrilling books, romance books, manga, fantasy, all kinds of good things. And with that being said, I hope you're having a great day, night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!